Good afternoon and welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I am Rajni Bharara today, and today we have a very special episode lined up for you. Especially if you're an international student navigating the tricky waters of F-1 OPT and employment in the United States. Well, we'll be diving deep into the topic of how F-1 OPT students can secure work and stay stress free, focusing on mastering self employment and USCIS's EAD renewal extensions. Joining us today is none other than Mantravadi, an esteemed immigration attorney with years of experience helping international students and professionals navigate the complexities of the US immigration system. Uma is here to share invaluable insights, tips, and strategies to help you succeed in your journey. So, without any further ado, let's give Uma a very warm welcome. Uma, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Rajni. It's a pleasure to be back.
Amazing. So before we move into the show, I would like to read out the important disclaimer here. Guys, by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. Now, to everyone who's watching us right now, I would like to tell you, and if you would like to share this episode with your friends, share this live session with your friends, you are more than welcome to. And so just please note that this session is being streamed live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and the handle is Immigration Talk Show. So don't forget to subscribe to us. And if you have any question to the attorney wherever you are watching it from, please comment with your question. We'll be glad to answer. All right, so now let's just get started, Uma. Last week we had this show. The show was conducted by Nipasa, another
Yes,
host, a lovely host. And because of the internet problem or because of the, technical issues, basically, so, we had to end the session. So there were a
correct.
few questions coming up, but still, I think we discussed a couple of questions in our first episode. So in this episode, I would like to start from asking you about strategies. Shall I do
Sure.
that?
Absolutely, and Rajni, first of all, apologies to all the listeners for the technical difficulties we faced, and it was absolutely unavoidable. So I hope all of you all will understand that it was beyond our control. And we did start the program, but we couldn't finish it. So we're going to
Right.
now jump into it again because this is such a hot topic that there are so many students who are affected by this. So I
Mhm.
don't mind going back and answering the same question if need be again.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much for saying that. I mean, because we already covered a lot of questions in the previous episode, so I'm sure, if people want to know the answer, to know the answer of the previous question, they of course can, rewatch and go to our previous episode. But here today, I would like to start from the strategies. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, Uma, very first question. If you can please talk about what strategies or steps can students under OPT pursue to work for a company in which they have ownership, interest, or equity while still meeting STEM OPT requirements, such as maintaining an e-verify employer, ensuring compensation, and establishing a bona fide employer-employee relationship.
Yeah, when it comes to STEM OPT, Rajni, there are a lot of requirements. One is the employer has to be absolutely e-verified and they have to comply with the e-verify requirements, the I-9 requirements, and the STEM OPT applicant has to be paid. It cannot be unpaid, unlike the OPT, which you can be working as a volunteer and not get paid. But whereas for the STEM OPT, they have to be compensated every week or bi-weekly, monthly, whatever the amount of pay, they have to be
Mhm.
compensated adequately. Now, can they have ownership and still meet the STEM OPT requirements? That can be a little tricky when it comes to STEM OPT. Whereas in an OPT, we can tell the applicant to be self employed. For example, they can own their own company and then be self employed and still meet the OPT requirements. For the STEM it can be a little tricky if you are both the owner as well as the applicant or the employee. So to show that can be a little bias to that, you know. I don't know if they can establish, because you've got to show that this particular applicant is receiving bona fide training, and the employer has to give a complete training manual, you know, to
Mhm.
show what they are going through in the 20 hours or 40 hours. So that can be a little bias attached if you are both the owner as well as the employee. So I wouldn't recommend that kind of a relationship.
Okay, okay, understood. But you know, if but why not ownership? I mean, you have already explained it, but I again would like to come back to this and ask you, if someone has ownership, why do you think there are rules made for for the person to not have ownership, but to show themselves as an employer, an employee, or basically employed? But why not ownership? Why do you think there's
Because
such a problem?
self-employment is not permitted during the STEM OPT.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
This would be considered as self-employment.
Self-employment. Okay. All right.
Self-employment
Okay.
is permitted during OPT, but not during STEM
Not during
OPT.
STEM OPT. Understood. Understood. Okay, thank you so much for answering the question, Uma. Now I would like to move ahead to my next question. And the next question is about measures. So if you can please talk about what measures can students under STEM OPT take to ensure compliance with all requirements throughout the 24-month period. Additionally, what recourse do students have if they discover violations of their status at the end of their STEM OPT period, particularly if they have already filed for a change of status to another visa category?
I lost you on the first part of the question. I got the second part of the question. Would you repeat it if you don't mind it?
Sure. I would also like to show it here if I can. Just one moment, please. Okay. So the second question is about, okay, let me just read out to you. So the second question that I wanted to know is, what measures can students under STEM OPT take to ensure compliance with all requirements throughout the 24-month period?
STEM period. Sure,
Yeah.
got it.
Mhm.
Basically, STEM OPT is made through an application to the USCIS, and this is also notified to the DSO, the ISO, who is regulating the entire OPT and STEM OPT. So the student has to notify who the employer is, what the training plan is going to be, how many months they're working there, do they have an offer letter, do they
Mhm.
have a contract, whatever, they have to give everything to them. So if they are not being compensated, for example, that could be a violation. If
Mm.
they are not getting the training that they are supposed to, or they're being sent off to another job which they're not supposed to, they can probably report this matter to the DSO and then move on to another STEM employer who's willing to file the 983 for them, and then move on to another employer.
Okay, okay. And also, let's talk about the second part now. And additionally, what recourse do students have if they discover violations of their status at the end of their STEM OPT period, particularly if they have already filed for a change of status to another visa category?
Um, Rajni, they will not know any violations at the end of it. They'll know it as they are going through itself. This is not something that they are going to find out at the end of it. For
Uh-huh.
example, if they're not getting paid, they'll know they're not getting paid.
Right.
If they are laid off, they'll know they are laid off right away. So these are not things that you're going to find out
At the end of it.
or
Okay.
discover this at the end of it.
Okay.
Now, for example, if the employer is not e-verified, you won't even be able to apply for the STEM OPT. So that also is something you will know in the beginning. You're not going to discover that at the end of it. So this
Mm.
is something, the student has to be cautious and watchful and report these matters immediately, so that they have been proactive and notified the DSO about any violations, and they're
Okay.
they're not part of the violation.
Okay. Okay, understood. But okay, so Uma, before I move ahead and before I jump into my next question, so there were a couple of questions which were posted last week by our viewers.
Yeah,
So they wanted to be, but because of again the technical difficulty, we were not able to take those questions. So now, before I jump into my own question, I would like to take their questions. So,
sure.
Samira was there who had a question for you, and you were giving her answer, and you were already discussing things with her. But then, suddenly things,
And we went blank.
yeah, we went blank. Right, right. So, I would again like to pick Samira's question, and if now today, if you can give her a proper good answer.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what she posted was my F-1 visa is expiring December 2024. Here we have it on screen, but my
Mhm.
EAD expires Feb 2025, and I have exhausted three chances of H-1B without selection. Please suggest. So what would you
Now,
suggest Samira to do?
the question is a little confusing when she says my F1 visa is expiring. I'm assuming she's talking about the stamp in the passport. If that's what that is, then we don't have to worry about it because your visa is not, your stay is not governed by your visa stamp. It is governed by your I 94. And for students, the I 94 always says D slash S, which is duration of status, as long as you're in a valid student or post OPT or STEM, you're fine. So if your EAD expires in Feb 2025, then you're fine. Hoping that is your OPT or STEM OPT, then you're good. Now you've exhausted three chances of the H1B without selection. What do you do?
Mhm.
My suggestion would be maybe go into a PhD program, or and while you're doing your PhD, maybe the university can sponsor you under the cap exempt category, hire you as a professor or a tenured position at the university, or it could be a research institution, it could be a hospital, depending on what your background is. This is what I would take that out. And once you complete your PhD and you've got any publication, you may also qualify for the EB1 as opposed to the EB2. And if you're from India, as you know, it's going to take 20, 25 years for somebody to get a green card under the EB2, EB3. So you might be in a better position if you're into the PhD program by getting into a CAP exempt H1B rather than the CAP subject H1B, because you've exhausted your three chances. So this is something I would do. I would look into that.
Great. Thank you
That
so
is
much.
one option for Samira. Rajni, this can be a generic option even for many other people who don't qualify for H1. You may want to look into whether if your employer has a parent company or a subsidiary outside the United States, you can go work for them for 1 year in a managerial position and come back on an L1A and
Mhm.
then file for your green card under EB1C. So again, you will get a green card faster through that process. Plus, you come on an L1A where there is no quotas, you're not subject to any cap, and you can file this year long, so there's no restriction. So one has to look into all these different options, depending on individually what that person can qualify. So it's not something I would say that it blanketly applies to everyone.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Uma, for the great answer. And Samira, I hope you have got the answer. You've got your answer now, and I hope you are watching this session now. If you are, please do let us know. And if you are happy with the answer, also please let us know. And also, because Uma said if you are from India, so also let us know where you're watching this session from and where you have posted this question from. If you are from India or any other places, please let us know.
Yeah,
And
because Rajni, it also depends. Let's say the question is about EB2 or EB3.
mhm,
I would not be able to tell how long it takes unless I know the country of birth for that
right.
individual. And that's how the visa bulletin goes, by the
Mm,
country of birth.
right, right.
So it's a
Yeah, of
good
course.
thing
But
what you're pointing out.
Yeah, because to give a detailed answer and correct answer, we need to have specific details in the question itself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Samira, just let us know. And to everyone else, if you're watching this video after the live session has ended, you can continue to post your questions. My team is going to help you with the answer. Now, let's move ahead. After Samira, I would like to take Uma, another viewer's question. But
Sure.
before I move into that, I would like to know I would like to know the answer of this particular question. So,
Sure.
with the recent USCIS changes regarding EAD extensions and the completion of the H-1B lottery selection process for fiscal year 2025, what are the key implications and considerations for immigrants and visa applicants, particularly those from African countries? If you can please help us with an answer.
Yeah, with the recent changes regarding EAD extensions, there's been good changes on the EAD extensions.
Okay.
For example, if you're filing under for an H4 EAD extension, they are giving you 5 years extension. Now, if you're filing on a family based or an
Mm-hmm.
asylum based, also, you're getting a 5 year EAD, meaning earlier you used to get it for 1 year or 2 years. Now you're getting it for 5 years, Rajni, which means, you don't have to keep applying and reapplying. So that is a good part of that.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
once the H1B lottery selection process is done, we're waiting to see if there would be or could be a second lottery, because a lot of employers are still procrastinating to file the H1s. One, because they don't have a project, they had one, but it's gone, or their company is downsizing, they don't want to hire this employee anymore. So there are many, many such situations that may come up, which may give a second chance for people who were in the lottery for 2025, that they can be picked up again. Now, you asked a question about people from African countries. They also have DV visas, which is called as the diversity visa. It's a lottery to get a green card.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they are from the countries that qualify for the DV, there's a list of countries that are part of the DV visa. If you are, then you can apply for that. It's again a lottery. And if you get picked up, you're the lucky one. Imagine you get a green card.
Yeah.
Now, this is worth more than $1 million for many people.
That's true. I mean, that's true. And a lot of viewers are posting their questions. So let me just quickly say hi to all of them. Veenu is here. Nandini is here. Nandini has posted on YouTube. And Veenu, as I said, hi Veenu. Hi Ricky. And Sankit is here. Basma is here. So hi and big hello to all of you. And we are definitely going to take up your questions. But you'll just have to wait for a while. I just want to complete my this question, and definitely after I complete this question, Nandini, I'm going to take your question first. Just please give us a minute or two. So
Rajani gets the priority.
yes, the priorities are always set, Uma. The viewers, the viewers, we need to give viewers the priority. But here, I would like to give priority to my this second part of the question.
Sure,
So the
sure.
second part of my previous question was about, how can these developments, including the proposed fee increases and enhanced transparency measures, impact the overall visa application process and the fair distribution of H-1B visas? If you
It's a
can please
good
give.
question. Basically, now starting for the fiscal year 2025, the H1B process is all can be online. You can actually file your applications online. What this means is transparency. You can actually see how many cases are being filed, what's happening to your cases, what is the progress. Everything is in that particular account for that particular employee. Now, your point of contact for the company or your HR can literally see every day what actions are being taken, unlike waiting for a mail to come or the mail is lost. So these can happen. If you get an RFE that is posted up immediately, you file your H1, you get a receipt immediately. So these are the transparencies that are now coming up. which is why I guess they came up with the increased fee on most of the cases across the board, so that they can provide more online transparency to employers, individuals, whether you're filing an N-400, whether you're filing a renewal of a green card, whatever case you're eligible to file online, you can look at all the information. Fair
Mhm.
distribution, now that's a good question. I'm not sure that I can say with a conviction there is a fair distribution,
Okay.
because attorneys like me, we do have this contention that a lot of big companies, I'm just giving names for example, it's just an example.
Mhm.
Let's say companies like Infosys or Tata Consulting or Microsoft, I'm just giving names as an example. Sometimes they file 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 H1, and
Mhm.
they're not using up all the H1s because they file them, they get them approved, but the applicant is actually not coming to the United States to do the job because they don't have a project yet for that individual. So they don't even allow the individual to go for a stamping because they don't have. But then that H1B has been used for the quota for that year, but
Mhm.
then the H1B employee has actually not come into the United States to do the job. So the
Mhm.
H1B is used against the quota, but the
Mhm.
individual has not come in. So it's kind of an unfair way of using this distribution. So would it be a fair contention? I would say not really.
Okay. Okay. And you are the expert. If you say not, then, we have to believe that. So,
I mean, for example, there may be smaller employers, let's say they have 10 or 20 or 30,
uh-huh.
and they truly have a bona fide job waiting for them to come join. But
Mhm.
these individuals are not picked in the lottery because, some other company, a big company, company A or company B or C, has
Mhm.
filed 10,000, and those have really not been used.
Yeah.
So, from a small employer's perspective, I would say that's not a fair distribution.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah. And thank you so much for answering the question, Uma. Now let's quickly take, our viewers' question. So Nandini, I said I'm going to take Nandini's question. Tarun,
sure.
next are you. So just be in line. And after Nandini, we are going to take up your question. And Nandini wants to ask, my OPT expires soon. What are my options to stay in the country? Uma, if you can please help.
Sure, Nandini, if you've not been in the H1B cap selection, you didn't file it, or your application was not, registration was not selected, then your option is to go back to school, either to secure, I don't know if you've done a master's, or you can do a second master's if that would benefit you, or go into a PhD program if that would benefit you. That is one option. Or you can look at which employer can hire you, as I said, outside the United States if they have a subsidiary and affiliate outside the US where you can work for 1 year, come back on an L1A. So that would be absolutely beneficial for you if that is something that's possible. So these are options. And a lot of people also, Rajni, look at Canada if they
Mhm.
get frustrated that they're not, getting a job
Yeah.
here, employer is not. So a lot of people look into the option of going to Canada. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying Canada has much more jobs than the US, definitely not. But still, maybe you might want to look into it where you can get a legal permanent resident status
Mhm.
there and become a citizen, and then come to the US on a TN visa
Right.
under NAFTA.
Mhm.
So that is one other option, but there is a while to go through the process and to come here on a
Mhm.
TN visa. But the L1 could be an option, or maybe going and doing a PhD and getting a CPT while you're doing your PhD or a second master's. You can get a CPT and work for an employer. So that could be another option too.
Okay, too many options. So Nandini, you can choose either one of them. And Uma, if you have to like give her one best option that she should be considering right now, so what would that be?
I'm just smiling because the other option is if you find a suitable boy, get married.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding, guys. That's not the best option. The best option would be, yes, definitely either doing
That
a
can be
second
plan B,
master.
not an other option, but that can be plan B. But just see if all of your plan works.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Most people don't want that option.
yeah.
So the best one would be to go back either to do a master's if you've done one, and then go to and see if you can get a CPT through. If it's part of the curriculum, you can
Mhm.
definitely get a CPT and go work for an employer. So that would be an immediate fix for them.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So Nandini, I hope you've got the answer. If you're happy and satisfied, just let us know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And always, always, keep watching and always stay tuned with our channel. And now let's quickly take our next viewer question. So next, Tarun is here, and Tarun wants to know any news about third round lottery for H1B. People are still hoping, still expecting. What do you have to say, Uma?
Well, we haven't even gotten to second round, so third round is a far-fetched
Yeah.
question, Tarun. We just finished the first round for 2025.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned earlier, there is hope for a second round
Okay.
if a lot of employers don't file for towards their selections because they
Mhm.
don't have a job or they're closing shop or whatever reasons or
Mhm.
they don't like this employee, they thought they liked him or her. And many issues come up, Rajni, between
You're right.
the cup and the lip. There's always those gaps and things can happen. So based on that, could we have a second? There's a possibility, but I'm not sure about the third one. I want to be as optimistic as you are, Tarun, and hope there is a third, but I can tell you there will be one.
Okay. And about the second one, like, can you predict a date or time for the second round if you're expecting?
Based on last year, I could only go by what they've been doing as a precedent. I think somewhere around July, August is when they
Mhm.
came up with the second one, where they said, we thought we met the 65 and 65,000 and the 20,000 for the masters, but now we haven't actually met and we need more. So we're going to take the applicants who were registered to dip into a second lottery. So they will come up and say that. You know.
Okay. Okay. So
So one has
Tarun,
to be
uh,
watchful, listen to our segments. I'm sure we are going to announce that, Rajani,
yeah,
with your
absolutely.
help. We will be doing that from time to time. If there is a second lottery that's being announced, we will definitely bring it up in our shows.
Definitely, definitely. We are going to, and also, we keep posting these update videos. So make sure you watch all those update videos and you stay updated and stay informed with the Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And, we are definitely going to, if ever there is a second round or a third round, we are going to let you know. Don't you worry about it. Just subscribe to the channel. Is what I'll say. Okay, so Nandini says thank you. So thank you so much, Nandini, to you too. And now let's move to our viewers who posted their question last week. So last week we already took Samira's question. So now Manas also posted last week. So Manas posted, and Manas wanted to know, I have an approved I-140 on H-1B, and my spouse is on F-1 OPT. We aim to file for her H-4 COS and employment authorization document EAD. What documents do we need? If you can please help
Wow,
Manas. Yeah.
that's a long laundry list of things. You can always, Manas, go to the USCIS website and look at the H4 change of status and also the H4 EAD requirements. It gives you a checklist of documents, but those are only basics. But if you need further, you need to reach out to an attorney because these requirements change
Mhm.
from time to time. Whatever is today may not be a requirement tomorrow. What is tomorrow may not be the day after tomorrow. So I would say start with your request of the documents on the USCIS website. And if you cannot still find anything, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be glad to help you with it.
Of course. And to reach out to Uma Mantravadi, everyone, what you need to do is you need to call her at 713-787-5297. And you can also mail her at uma@mantralaw.com. And you can also visit her website, which is www.mantralaw.com. I would again like to repeat it because, as you can see it on the screen. So I would like to again repeat these details. You can give her a call at 713-787-5297. You can email her at uma@mantralaw.com, and you can also visit her website, which is mantralaw.com. Yes, and after Manas, let's move to Jennifer's question. So, Uma, Jennifer wanted to know that for H1B receipt starts with IOE, which USCIS filing location. Should we file slash send the H4 EAD renewal application?
You'll have to again go to the USCIS website and it tells you where to mail these applications. You know, if it's starting with an SRC, WAC, LIN, or IOE, it tells you the direct mailing addresses. Again, Rajani, these keep changing from time to time. So they'll have to go look it up on the website at uscis.gov and they will tell you where to mail these.
Okay. Well, Jennifer, I hope you've got the answer. Thank you so much for your question. Now, let's take one more question. And after this question, we'll go for a short break and then we'll come back and take more viewer questions. So, this question is again from last week, and Ricky posted it on YouTube. And he said, I got selected for H1B and currently under CPT, not day one CPT. Please let me know the best approach to get H1B. Is it change of status or through consular processing?
Well, if you are legally here in a valid status, I would definitely do a change of status. There's no issue if you're on a CPT. Even if it is a day one CPT, that's not a problem. As long as the CPT is part of the curriculum, and if you can justify that, you can definitely do a change of status. I wouldn't go for consular processing because one, getting appointments for consular processing is always difficult. Two, no matter what you satisfy the USCIS, the consulate sometimes has more stringent requirements and they can put a person into a 221G. And if they put you into administrative processing with 221Gs, and also these 221Gs are color coded, Rajni, let me tell you this. They have a yellow, they have a white, they have a blue, and I believe they have a pink. And if you get a white one, that's the most difficult 221G that you're receiving.
Wow.
These are
Okay.
also, again, color coded, and we've been doing this for years. So, this is how we have deciphered the requirements of the consular officers. So I wouldn't go for consular processing. I would definitely, if you qualify and your attorney tells you that you qualify for a change of status, I would definitely go for a change of status. No consular processing. Yeah, at some point, if you need to travel, you have to go get a stamping done. Would you not go through a stringent requirement then? Still, yes, but maybe, by then you've already started working in an H1. So they would also mellow down a little bit because you've already been working, you're getting paychecks, you're getting W-2s. So your bona fide requirement of a job is already proven to them. The credibility is proven to them. So you've satisfied some of their hunger and you have to satisfy the rest of it, which is a little bit easier.
So, Uma, but now that you have mentioned, these color coded slips, right? If I can call them.
Yes, color
Right.
coded love letters.
Yeah, color coded love letters. Let's just call them love letters. Okay. So, if you can, you already have told us about the difficult one. If you can also
The
talk
white one.
the white one.
The
Right.
next time I'm going to bring it up. We'll talk more in detail about this,
Sure.
Rajni.
Yeah,
Definitely we
definitely.
will.
But for now, if you can, just after white, you also said green, blue, and
There's
pink.
a white, there's a blue, there's a yellow, and a pink.
Yellow and a pink. If you can talk. Okay. So, what does yellow means?
Yellow, I believe, is saying that they are processing it. They don't need documents from you, but they have delays in their own processing. So it's going to
Okay.
take time. They're
Mhm.
not saying you didn't give us documents or you lack documents, but we have some issues, maybe, personnel issue, we are short of people, or we're meeting other deadlines, so we are unable to get to yours. So we'll get back to you, but it's not something we need from you.
Wow. Okay. And what about if we have talked
I
about.
can't remember the other color code things. That's why I'll have to look up my notes for the
Okay.
next time. I can definitely
Okay. Maybe.
talk
Okay.
about it. Yeah, we'll
Sure. Sure. Let's
definitely
talk
talk about
about
it.
these things in the next episode in detail.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
We'll actually do one whole session about 221 Gs.
Of course, we have already picked a topic for the next episode now, Uma. So thank you so much for that. Now people know what we are going to, talk about in the next episode next week. So, but thank you so much for shedding light on these important matters, Uma. Now let's go for a short break. But everyone, you
Sure.
just stay with us. We'll be back to answer your questions. So just stay tuned with Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We'll be back shortly.
Consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H-1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 732-707-9151 or mail us at rajni@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.
Welcome back, viewers. We are now again opening the floor to questions from our audiences. So let's directly move to the questions. Shall we, Uma?
Absolutely.
All
I
right.
also wanted to say one comment before we move on to the questions,
Uh-huh.
Rajni, that I would like to thank our technical support people who work behind the scenes to make this possible day in and day out. For every show that Immigration Job Talk Show does, I personally would like to thank them for their hard work and for everything that they do. There's always somebody behind the screens who do this, and
Uh-huh.
we need to recognize them.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that, Uma. Means a lot. And now, without any further ado, let's not keep our viewers waiting and quickly take their questions.
Sure, sure.
So, Jazila is here, and Jazila says, could you provide some tips on how F1 OPT students can effectively manage their time and resources while pursuing self employment?
Time management. That's all I can tell you. You
Okay.
have to know how to do time management. As I mentioned earlier, on F1 OPT, you can definitely be self employed, but you have to show that you're working a minimum of 20 hours. If you don't show that, you got to show what exactly you're doing. Is it related to your degree, your courses? You've got to keep track of all that. So it's like keeping a timetable of everything that you're doing, what work you've done every day. I would keep up with all that. all your notes in case the DSO, ISO, or the USCIS wants information about this. Even in the future, when you apply for your H1s or STEM OPTs, you may definitely need all of this.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Uma, for answering the question. Jazila, I hope you are happy with the answer, and thank you so much for posting your question. Now, Varnav is also here, and Varnav wants to know what are some effective strategies for F1 OPT student to secure employment while staying stress free. Is time management again the answer, Uma?
Not exactly like we talked right in the beginning, Rajni, that F1 OPT students do have the option of doing a self-employment, which we just told Jazila also
Right.
that you can indulge into self-employment, but you've got to do a minimum of 20 hours, and you have to keep track of what you're doing, and it has to be connected to your education that you've done. Your major, if it is computer science, and if it is you're getting into a networking, then you have to show that you're doing anything connected with networking.
Okay.
For example, if I'm a law student and I have an OPT, I can't go and work as a pharmacy technician, even though I may have a license to do that, because it's not related to my education. So clearly, we have to keep it connected to your education. And you can definitely be self employed doing 20, but you've got to show what exactly you're doing.
Right.
And F1 OPT also has the advantage that you don't have to be compensated for your work. It can be volunteer work. Let's say an employer is saying, okay, I will hire you, but I'm not going to pay you. I would take that job. I know it's tough in this day and age not to get paid, but if that's the only option, I would take it up and do the job. And as long as you can get a letter that you worked for employer A from this time to this time, and it was connected to your education, to your background.
Absolutely. And Varnav, if you're working or if you're studying, nothing can be stress free for you. So these options are definitely going to what Uma suggested is definitely going to help you. But stress free is, I don't think, is an option for you or for
For
anyone.
anyone,
Yeah,
there's
right.
no stress free for anyone, but it's how you handle it
Right. Absolutely.
makes the difference. You take it head on and deal with it rather than stressing about it.
Absolutely.
Anything in life. I'm just not being philosophical here. I'm just saying anything in life, you take it head on, deal with it, and stress is what you want to take stress and how you want to handle it.
Absolutely. And if problems can be solved by taking stress, everyone would do that, right?
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much, Uma, and thank you so much, Varna, for your question. Now let's move to Venu's question. So Venu has two questions actually. So firstly, he says, if I'm currently on OPT and my EAD renewal extension is pending, but my H-1B petition is denied, what are my options for remaining in the United States legally? And next, he says, can I reapply for an EAD renewal extension or do I need to leave the country and reapply for a new visa? Okay, let's take one by one. Let's take this one first.
First of all, I'm not understanding the question. If you're
Okay.
currently on an OPT and my EAD renewal extension is pending, when they say EAD, is he referring to a STEM OPT? So if that is the case, if the STEM is approved, you get it for 2 years additionally, and you can work for that employer who filed for your STEM extension. And if your H-1B is denied, you can still continue to be employed on this STEM extension. So if the answer of that EAD renewal he's referring, or Venu is referring to as the STEM, then you're fine. I don't know what other EAD renewal he's referring to. I'm assuming it is the STEM OPT. So if your H-1B is denied, it's not a problem. You can still continue if you have some time period left on your STEM OPT, which is generally 2 years.
Okay, okay. And what about the second part, Uma, where he says, can I reapply for an EAD renewal extension, or do I need to leave the country and reapply for a new visa?
Again, that's a very confusing question. What is the EAD renewal he's referring to? You can't get STEM extensions over and over again either. You get it only for 2 years. So I don't know what EAD he's referring to.
Okay, okay, understood.
And it
Um,
doesn't matter even if your student visa stamp in your passport is expired, as long as you're in a valid status in the US, your stamping has no connection to that.
Okay. Okay. So, Vinu, if you can please be specific with your question and if you can provide us more details, so Uma can help you with a better answer. So, I think that'll be great. So, after Vinu, okay, Prerak is here from LinkedIn, and Prerak says hi, and I've already taken his question. And he says, hi, Prerak, I hope you're doing good. And what he says is, I am on STEM OPT and my parents are green card holders. Can I file my green card and how much time it takes to get green card? I am unmarried and 21 above.
Well, your parents can file for your green card, Prerak. It takes about 7 to 8 years, could be even 10 years. And during that period, you need to maintain your status. So your STEM is only valid for 2 years maximum. So post STEM, you have to apply for an H1 or go back to school. And if you're going back to school as an F1 and your parents have filed for your green card, you may not get the F1 because for an F1, you've got to show an intent to return back to your home country. And if your parents have filed a green card, you're showing an intent to remain here permanently. So you'll have to look into all these issues. This is not as simple as one thinks it is. It is pretty convoluted. So definitely advise you to seek out to an attorney and then make some decisions. Do not make any haste decisions. It looks very colorful saying, okay, my parents are green card holders, they can apply. Surely nobody's saying they cannot. But what are the repercussions post application is something you'll have to look into.
Okay. And Prerak, about reaching to an attorney, you can, directly get in touch with Uma here, and you can give her a call at 713-787-5297. You can also mail her at uma@mantralaw.com, or you could also visit her website, which is mantralaw.com. Yes. And you can get in touch with her. You can seek help if you want. So she already have answered, try to give you an answer, try to help you out here. But to get more detailed answer and to get like a proper answer about your situation, you can write to her, give her a call, and get in touch with her. All right. And thank you so much. And now let's take Raj's question. So Raj wants to know, okay, here it is. What happened? Okay. Something is happening. I don't know why am I not able to show it. Okay. So Raj says, how do F1 OPT students deal with uncertainty surrounding their EAD renewal while pursuing self-employment?
Now, I'm assuming again when they are referring to EAD renewal, they're talking about STEM OPT. So, for a STEM OPT, again, you need an employer who's going to file your I 983, and that has to be approved in order to get your STEM renewal. And that employer, of course, has to be e verified. So, you've got to go through all that process of filing. And if they don't file, you don't get the STEM OPT. And you've got to file it in correct deadlines. If you don't file it within the required deadlines, that's another huge topic to also talk about next time, Rajani, is when can the students file their OPT, STEM OPT? There are deadlines, and if you don't comply, the USCIS is very, very strict about these deadlines. So you got to file it in a timely manner and get it approved so that you can work on your STEM. Now, how can you do this while you're pursuing self employment? Again, It's all about time management, and you've got to keep up with these deadlines. So I tell people, calendar it, put it in your Outlook or Google Calendar, whatever reminders it has to give you. I would put it 10 days ahead of your deadline so that you make sure you file these applications in a timely manner. Otherwise, the USCIS is going to deny it.
Right, absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much again, Uma, for answering the question. And thank you so much, Raj, for posting it. I hope you're happy with the answer. And now Prerak is again back and he says, thank you so much for your information. Thank you so much, Prerak, for watching the session. And also don't forget to subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. And now let's take Abhishek Banerjee's question. So Abhishek Banerjee, I don't know if we have already taken this, but let's try to read and no. Okay, so Abhishek wants to know if I have been self-employed on OPT and inadvertently violated,
Inadvertently, yeah.
yeah, violated some of the OPT regulations or failed to properly document my business activities, what are potential consequences? And then he has a second part, but let's answer this first.
Yeah, you need to, of course, like I said, you've got to log everything and maintain everything. Now, for example, if you've inadvertently violated, you'll have to explain that whenever you're applying for your STEM OPT or your H-1B. If this comes up in an RFE, you'll have to deal with it. And I would definitely suggest you seek out to an experienced attorney who can respond to the RFE in a proper way more than in a timely way. You've got to answer it. Of course, timeliness is also a requirement, but answering it properly, adequately is important. Will you get an RFE? Possibly. We don't know that. Sometimes they'll overlook it, sometimes they may not overlook it. Especially when you're doing self-employment in an OPT, they want to make sure you're actually working in the field that you have educated, and it's not something, like if I'm a law student and I'm going and working in a gas station, which is nothing related to my field of education. So they want to make sure you're complying with everything.
Right. Okay.
So any mistakes, I would try not to make mistakes. And of course, we are human. We are all going to make mistakes. Nobody is devoid of it, and nobody is perfect. Try to keep up with as much as you can. And in this day and age with technology, with everything that helps you, I would keep everything online, which day you work from what time to what time. Keep a spreadsheet or whatever and save it on cloud. If you're worried somebody is going to hack into your computer, do everything possibly you can to maintain things. But everything fails, you can show that to an officer that you've saved it, but somehow it got wiped out. It's not your mistake. You've done everything. You know, I mean, humanly, you've done everything.
Okay. All right. So we also have a second part. You have already started getting calls now. I think your clients also know that the show is about to get over. So and now let's try to contact Uma. So, but let's take the second part of Abhishek's question. Uma, he says, can I still apply for an EAD renewal extension or a green card, or am I at risk of being barred from future immigration benefits?
Now, you again, when you're talking EAD renewal extension, I'm assuming you're referring to STEM OPT. Yeah, you can, but if an RFE comes regarding your OPT period of self-employment, there's been any inadvertent violations, if you can explain it, I think you should be fine. You're not going to be barred for life from any future immigration benefits. Every one of us makes mistakes. As long as they're genuine mistakes, it's not something you had intentionally committed. As I gave myself as an example, if I'm a law student and I go work in a gas station intentionally, then I am at risk to show that I've done something intentionally to violate my status.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Abhishek, I hope you're happy with the answer to both your questions. And thank you so much for posting both the questions. And now let's quickly take Ricky's question. So Ricky has also posted a question here, and he says, what resources and support systems are available for F1 OPT students to help them navigate the process of self employment and EAD renewal?
Everybody keeps referring to EAD renewal, and I'm assuming that is STEM OPT.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different thing. You need an employer who's willing to process your I-983 post your F1 OPT, but you've got to file it, I believe, at least 60 days prior to the expiration of your OPT. And but you need an employer to do that. It cannot be STEM OPT, cannot be self-employed.
Mm.
Now, what are the resources available? Support. This is something you may want to talk to a DSO, find out what you can do. That's something you should definitely be discussing with your DSO if they can give you some guidance.
Okay. All right.
You have to keep out a lookout for anything. Let's say if you set up a company and you get a project, you're able to get a project for if you're a networking guy and you got a project to
Mm-hmm.
do a project. So that is your support system into projects. Maybe network with people in that, maybe network with the alumni of that university. Maybe they can help you. I know universities like A&M, which is the alumni, is extremely, extremely powerful in helping the students either getting jobs or could be a resource for project. Similarly, I'm sure most of the universities have alumni that can help them. They should reach out to them, reach out to their own departments for any jobs or any projects,
Mm-hmm.
anything that can be, you know, you got to keep a lookout for anything and everything.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So, Ricky, just what Uma said, you have to follow that. And thank you so much. I hope you're happy with the answer. And thank you so much for posting your question. And now let's take Sankirat's question. So, Sankirat wants to know, what are the common challenges that F1 OPT. Okay, again, the same similar question. So, Sankirat, I think we already have given the answer to to this particular question. So, I would request you to please, after this episode is gets over, you please watch, the full episode. You watch the session, you'll get an answer to your question. So, Basma has also posted a question, and she says, how can F1 OPT students ensure they maintain compliance with USCIS regulations while engaging in self employment?
As I had repeatedly mentioned, you can be self employed in an F1 OPT status, but not in a STEM. And for that, you need to make sure that you're at least working 20 hours, the minimum. You cannot be self employed less than that. You can be more than that, but cannot be, at least 20 hours per week. You've got to show that, and you should be able to provide the details of the nature and duration of the self employment, the hours worked for the business. For example, if I work from 8 to 1 and then I took a break and I'm working from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., you've got to keep all the hours and the details. It's useful to keep like a journal of your business activity throughout the self employment period so that you can produce all this to the USCIS when you are applying, if you qualify for a STEM and
Mm-hmm.
you're applying. So I'm answering even Sankit's question partly here,
Yeah.
that you have to keep a journal, keep a log, maintain everything. You
Mm-hmm.
can also keep things like client contracts if you have a contract. You can keep any business marketing that you've reached out to people, to get a project, to be self-employed. Any product development, if you're, let's say, a software developer, and you're developing a product, let's say for the university, or for students, or for lawyers, or for laundromats, whatever you're doing, keep uh, proof of all that, that you're sitting, you graduated with computer science as a software developer, and you're working on this particular product, hopefully this product will bring you a lot of money in the future, but it's in the initial stages. I would keep a journal of all of this. If this can help you, this is how I would go about doing it.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Uma. Thank you so much, for answering all the questions with so much patience and with so much detail. So, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions today. But again, a huge, huge thank you to you for joining us in this episode today. And of course, for sharing your invaluable insights. Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure, Rajni. It's always a pleasure to be with Immigration Job Talk Show and with you, Rajni. It's a pleasure to have you back again, and look forward to many more, sessions where we provide intriguing information to our viewers, where they can at least get a path to where to go, what to do. We may not be able to give all their answers in a few minutes because it's impossible to do that. And that's why I suggest that they should contact an attorney to get more detailed answers before they jump into anything, whether they are applying for a STEM extension or an OPT or a CPT. Half knowledge is the most dangerous thing
Yeah.
that one can do. So you need to find out. If you don't know all of it, please, before you do something and mess up your cases, please reach out to an attorney and make sure that you're complying with everything, or at least you're on the right path. This is something I would tell everyone. And also, the advisors, do not copy paste what your friends do, your roommates do, your neighbors do, because everyone's case in life is different. It's not like an exam paper where you might get the same questions in an exam, but life, you're not going to get the same. You're going to get everything different. So don't copy paste.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And about reaching to attorney, you can, directly reach out to Uma herself. Yes, you can give her a call at 713-787-5297. You can also mail her at uma@mantralaw.com, or you could visit her website, www.mantralaw.com. And guys, if you're looking for a project placement or visa sponsorship, you can reach out to me on my email, which is rajni@hierarchypeople.com. My contact number is +1 732 707 9151. And you can also visit our website, which is www.hierarchypeople.com. Remember, we also sponsor H-1B visa and other work visas based on job availability and regulations. And now, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in such huge numbers and posting your questions. It was lovely taking all your questions and asking from Uma gave some really insightful answers, so thank you so much for that. And but unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But fear not, we'll be back with more insights and more episodes on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. So until we are back with our next episode, you stay tuned, stay informed, and keep subscribing to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I am Rajni Bharara, signing out for now. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.